Maulers Sunday Live.
Holy crap, guys. Holy crap. What is happening this week? This is insanity. I don't want to be here. I don't want to answer your questions. I don't want to have to be put on the line with this insane week, but I'm here. We are here. We are always here for you, the Foot Clan. We're going to help get you through it. Playoffs are here, baby. If you're watching, you're in the playoffs. You're making start-sit decisions that are important, and there are some doozies this week. The weather, out of control. It's a nightmare. Problems that we will talk about in some games. The injuries, it's insane. A lot of unexpected ins, unexpected outs. Illnesses out of the blue that are going to cause real problems. This is an insane week. The big picture is very, very big today, Brooks. Let's take a look at it.
The big picture.
Okay. We're going to start off with the big picture at the quarterback position, which has been crazy, right? All these backups. So far, if you had happened to play a quarterback, because 4 games have already happened this week, congratulations. Congratulations on anyone you played. Jake Browning, Easton Stick, great. They were fine. Jared Goff, heck yeah. King Goff. But now let's talk about some quarterbacks that are in trouble. C.J. Stroud has been ruled out. It is not Davis Mills being active. It is Case Keenum who is going to get the start. That is surprising. I don't want to start Case Keenum. I don't think you should start Case Keenum, but the matchup is good against Tennessee. Nico Collins is out, so that's going to hurt him. Tank Dell obviously lost for the season. So maybe you could do a dart throw with Noah Brown, but Case Keenum's quarterback, so I hope you can do better than that. Geno Smith is questionable in a Monday night game. This is a great matchup. The Seahawks against the Eagles. You want Geno Smith if he's active. The problem is it's Monday night. You don't know if it's going to be him or Drew Lock. If you're relying on him, make sure you've got Drew Lock picked up. But here's the real problem, people. Oh, man. And this affects yours truly. Jalen Hurts, super duper sick. Like, they said basically he got worse overnight with the flu or whatever he's got. And if the game were today, which originally it was supposed to be, the game got flexed to Monday Night Football tomorrow, he probably wouldn't play. He's flying on a different plane to not get the other people sick. And you hope, you're like, maybe this will be like the Michael Jordan flu game. Great, I hope so. If anyone could do it, Jalen Hurts could do it. But this is a real problem. If you have Jalen Hurts, you're probably in the playoffs. Like, he got you there. But this is a Monday Night Football game that you don't know if he's going to play. First and foremost, you must pick up Marcus Mariota. If you have Fab, waste it. You've got to protect yourself. You want the chance to play Jalen Hurts, even sick, in a great matchup. The Seahawks-Eagles game, if Hurts is playing, I want the pieces in that game. And so you've got to give yourself that opportunity. But there's going to be a lot of questions if you don't have that opportunity. Or maybe there is another – maybe you've got Kyler. You've got Stafford. You've got Brock Purdy. You've got other good options while having Jalen Hurts. Like in the league of record, I've got Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts. I put Brock Purdy in my lineup because I want to take the guarantee. I won't know if Hurts can play. So we'll probably take some of those questions a little bit later. Be aware of that.
Jason, I see you got Mariota in Dynasty.
Did I?
That went through. You got him for a
55! You got to stay on brand. You know what I mean?
You did what you had to do.
You got to do what you got to do, like picking up Marcus Mariota in a Dynasty league. All right, running back position. My dude, Devon Achane, is surprisingly active. He is in. We thought because he didn't really practice this week he wasn't going to play. His teammate, shockingly, Tyreek Hill, we thought was going to play, inactive. So that was kind of a switcheroo. Be prepared for that. We'll talk about some I've seen the chat. You guys are all like, am I supposed to start Devon Achane? What do I do? You start him. Spoiler alert. Aaron Jones is in. It is worth noting Vita Vea on the other side against Tampa Bay, also active. He didn't practice this week, but that is a run stopper. But A.J. Dillon is out. So it's not good for running backs, but actually I think this is a good situation for Aaron Jones. You beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers through the air, and Aaron Jones is a great pass catcher, and A.J. Dillon is out of the way, so I think Aaron Jones is probably a good play. Isaiah Pacheco, out. So this is the big question, right? Like, do I play Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Do I play Jerick McKinnon? I got both. Which one of those guys do I start? We'll talk about that. Brian Robinson Jr. also out, so Antonio Gibson is going to be someone you could throw in your lineups as well. And Jamal Williams is in. I don't know that makes much of a difference. I know that Alvin Kamara has been a little disappointing, but with Chris Olave out, Alvin Kamara should be a great play. All right, wide receivers, we talked about it. Tyreek Hill and Chris Olave, two important pieces that helped get you to the playoffs. Tyreek Hill, I mean, if you have Tyreek Hill, you're in the playoffs. I haven't seen a Tyreek Hill team out of the playoffs in any of my leagues. Well, you're out of having Tyreek Hill. So that stinks. That also has a massive effect on Tua. Like, there's no world where I'm starting Tua. Against the Jets, bad weather. We'll get to the weather in a minute. No Tyreek Hill. I mean, sure, you could get a 70-yard screen from Devon Achane, but you're just trying to luck your way into points there. DJ Moore is in. Nico Collins is out, and Noah Brown is in. Christian Watson still out. Dontavian John Wicks is in for the Packers. I really like that matchup for the Packers. I like Jordan Love this week and the receiving options in that game against the pass funnel of Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Godwin, surprisingly in. He missed most of practice. I think the expectation was he wasn't going to play, but tough guy. He's toughed out a lot of injuries, come back quicker than usual. I'm not looking forward to playing him, but I do think it's good for Mike Evans to have another competent wide receiver out there. Brandon Cooks, now we're getting into the afternoon games here on Sunday, which is today. Brandon Cooks is expected to play. Marquise Brown and Michael Wilson, Cardinals, both expected to play, both really dealing with real injuries. I don't want to play either of them against San Francisco 49ers. Tutu Atwell currently not expected to play. This could be important for Demarcus Robinson as kind of a sneaky start. He got 10 targets last week with Stafford in a great matchup against the Manders. And for the New England Patriots, Devontae Parker's in. Juju Smith-Schuster is out. Irrelevant. Tight ends. We got some guys back. We got Darren Waller back. We got Dalton Schultz in, and we have Taysom Hill in. All three pretty important options. With Christian Olave out, you could see Taysom Hill actually used like a tight end this week. We've seen that. All right. Last thing on the big picture is the weather. Now, last week we got by some weather. What happened was it was supposed to be really rainy in a couple games. It scared us. But it was just rainy. And we've talked about this week and for years on the show. Rain doesn't really, unless it's like an extreme downpour, rain doesn't really have a massive effect. So, for instance, it looks like the Dallas Cowboys-Buffalo Bills game. There should be some rain there, but there's not wind, and it's not a heavy downpour. So I'm not worried about that game at all. That's kind of what we saw last week. The baddest, which I call the bast game that you don't want a part of is the Atlanta Falcons Carolina Panthers game. That's just a really terrible game. Heavy rain and wind, and two quarterbacks you didn't want to play. So this is really a running game that I expect a lot of work on the ground from both of these teams. You've got the Chicago Bears going to Cleveland, where you're going to have a lot of rain expected there. We saw that kind of last week, and I'm not too concerned there either. There are some gusts that could be involved there, some heavy wind. The downfield targets, maybe you worry about a little bit more, but like DJ Moore is getting so many screens, I'm not going to really downgrade him. Maybe Amari Cooper takes a slight hit. The Jets are going to Miami. This is going to be a very windy game. Not a ton of rain, but there is wind. That affects passing even more. Now, we talked about no Tyreek Hill against the Jets' number one passing defense. You don't really want the receiving options in either direction. I mean, it's really hard to think about benching Jalen Waddle, but you need to look at who else is available. If you've got a bunch of studs, Waddle could find his way on the bench. I don't expect big things from him, especially with Tyreek Hill out. Now you got Sauce Gardner, locking down Jalen Waddle, and then the Baltimore-Jacksonville game is windy, and when we say windy, we're talking gusts at like 40 to 60 miles an hour. You can't throw the ball downfield in that. Like, I really liked Odell Beckham this week before hearing this. But if I'm looking at the Beckham versus Flowers, I was on the Beckham side earlier in the week. I'm definitely on the Flowers side now. Beckham's been getting the deep field targets, and I just don't know, when you throw that ball, 20-plus air yards, where's the ball going to land? Like, they might not air it out too much in that game. So be aware of that. And I'm sure when we talk about these trending players, we're going to have a lot of questions being asked about guys in bad weather. Let's see who's hot right now.
He's so hot right now.
All right, Brooks. It's time. Who's hot?
Real quick, Jason, how are you doing today? How you doing handling all this in your leagues?
I'm doing all right. Most, my playoffs are more dynasty. I feel like dynasty decisions are usually a little bit easier. You don't have to clamor over waivers. I'm calm. I'm steady. I'm steady Eddie. I'm here for the people. How are you feeling in your leagues, Brooks?
I'm all right. Mike had Goff going against me yesterday.
So you're not all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. We'll see.
I don't even know who I'm rooting for between you guys. Like, I don't know who I'd rather face. I think I'd rather face Mike. Sorry, Mike. All right. Who's hot?
All right. You mentioned it. The Chiefs backfield.
Hmm.
Once again, I'm pretty sure it's the number one search last week. Which guy you playing if you have both?
So it's worth saying, rankings-wise, both Mike and Andy are on the Clyde Edwards-Helaire side. I am very much not. So I'm on the show. I would go Jerick McKinnon. The game script should be really positive, right? This is against New England. The Chiefs are coming off an upsetting, humiliating loss. I think that this is they're going to take care of business in dominant fashion, and that should be on the side of Clyde Edwards-Helaire, more the grinder, not the pass catcher having to pass and catch up. So I totally understand that argument. My argument for being on the Jerick McKinnon side is simply this: every single time that Jerick McKinnon has been given opportunity for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's been great. He's been really great for fantasy football. Won people championships last year. He's important for this team, and while he was not used nearly as much as Clyde last week, that was his first game back from injury, and they had been kind of bringing him along slowly. Having a full active week this week, I would rather put McKinnon in. Put it this way. He's just more talented than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, right? I would rather have 10 touches from McKinnon than 15 touches from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I am playing Jerick McKinnon, and in fact, I am playing Jerick McKinnon in a handful of places. So that is an easy McKinnon for me. You choose on your own, and you don't blame me. Next question, Brooks.
Let's put McKinnon up against Antonio Gibson without Brian Robinson.
Yeah, that one is very interesting. Gibson has been a top 24 guy 3 of the last 4 games for him. With Brian Robinson out, I do have Gibson ahead in my rankings. The neither matchup is great, but I think Gibson being more alone and me expecting Sam Howell to throw the ball 45-plus times, then I'll go with Gibson and PPR my way to more work.
All right, speaking of Sam Howell, let's switch over to quarterbacks.
Okay.
Going Howell or Justin Fields?
Ooh, that one's interesting. Justin Fields does have the wind issues. He's playing in Cleveland. Denzel Ward is back. He's missed the last 3 games, and we've kind of seen that really have a hit on the Cleveland Browns defense. I think the Browns defense is going to come at Fields today. I'm not excited to play Fields in this matchup. So I'm a Howell that one. Sam Howell, he's in.
All right, Justin Fields or Jordan Love. I think you said you like Love this week.
I do like Love. He's my start of the week. It's scary, man. He sucked so bad in New York last week on prime time. I mean, just looked bleh. The matchup against Tampa Bay is just so good. I mean, Desmond Ridder just lit Tampa Bay up last week. So I like the fact that he gets Aaron Jones back. I'm going with Love over Fields this week.
All right, one more Justin Fields. Another. He's got a much worse matchup. Kyler Murray versus 49ers or Justin Fields.
Man, that one is really, 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 really tough. I'm looking at my rankings, and I don't agree with them. I think I'm going to make an update here. Oh, man. This is so tough.
As I say, the Hollywood expected to play is probably more impactful for Kyler than Hollywood himself.
Yeah,
Fantasy,
same with Michael Wilson. Having like a full crew to be able to throw the ball to is very important. But I am going to play Kyler there. I know the San Francisco 49ers is a tough matchup, but so is the Cleveland Browns. And in Cleveland, you're worrying about weather. DJ Moore banged up. I mean, he's active, so you've got him. But I think I'm going to go Kyler Murray there. I expect more points in that game as a whole. Kyler's going to have to throw because the Cardinals can't stop the Niners. So hopefully you get some second half points and 50 rushing yards from Kyler. That's really, really tough.
All right. Another popular Cardinals player, T. McBee, going him or Isaiah Likely this week?
That one's really – Trey McBride's really tough. I've had – a lot of personal, like, do we flex him in leagues where I've got, like, Kelsey and McBride? The matchup is not good. The San Francisco 49ers have really shut down tight ends. The fact that there are other weapons back, that you've got Hollywood Brown and Michael Wilson, the necessity to throw to Trey McBride might not be there like it's been over the last couple weeks. But Trey McBride is a stud. He is a very good player. He is super high in the pecking order of targets. He might be the best receiving option on the Cardinals. The Cardinals are going to have to throw it a lot. I'm going with T. McBee over Isaiah Likely in windy weather.
All right, a couple more. We'll go to the people. Popular search, Isaiah Likely or Taysom Hill coming back?
Taysom Hill is very, very interesting. The way that I see this is look at your matchup. I think Isaiah Likely gets more guaranteed targets. He's going to be close to the line of scrimmage. But if you really need a boom, Taysom Hill can do what very few other tight ends can do. If you want to magic your way into a 3-touchdown day, Isaiah Likely's not doing that. But Taysom Hill, he has those crazy games. He's at home. I think you might want to go Taysom Hill here. With Chris Olave out, they're going to need other options. Raheed Shaheed can only do so much, which is another interesting play. Like if you're like scrambling due to injuries and looking for someone to play, he might be out there right now. Yeah, I'll go Taysom Hill.
All right, Jason, quick Achane test for you.
Achane. Yeah.
Achane or Zeke versus Chiefs?
Man.
Which has now moved up to the number 2 popular search on the site.
Yeah, wow. So my goodness.
Can we throw Mostert in there too? If you
have, Mostert's in. Like there's no
over all three.
Over
the other two.
Over almost everybody.
Okay.
Like players I would start. I mean, I can't even imagine not starting Mostert. I would start Mostert over Derrick Henry, who's a great start. Mostert's the number 2 running back on the year. He's scoring touchdowns every week. The Jets suck at stopping the run, despite how great their defense is at stopping the pass. Like Mostert's a lock. I really, really, really like Achane this week. In most situations,
you like him every week.
I like him every week. I don't want to have his potential 30-point game on my bench. And in most situations that I've seen, I've been looking at the chat. Most of these situations, I'm going with Achane. Zeke is very, very interesting because even though he's the exact opposite of Achane. Like he is not explosive. He's in a tough matchup, but he is guaranteed everything. I mean, he was 90% of the offense last week. It's like They just either hand the ball to him or throw the ball to him. Hand the ball to him or throw the ball to him.
30 opportunities last week.
I mean, it's really hard for me to imagine sitting a guy who can get 30 opportunities. I think I'm going to go Zeke over Achane. So that's really, really tough. But Achane is dealing with a toe injury. He could re-aggravate it. There is risk to Achane. Like, Achane's in most of my situations. But if I've got someone guaranteed volume, I'll go that way.
All right, Jason, to the people.
All right, let's go.
Stardom, set 'em.
Okay, here we go. We've got questions, Taysom Hill or JSN. I'm going to go JSN. Against the Eagles secondary, JSN's actually a pretty good play, despite not knowing who the quarterback is. We've got Noah Miller asking Jerick McKinnon or James Conner. Oof. Hoofda. Man, that's really, really tough. Bad matchup for James Conner.
That's kind of like a light version of the Zeke Achane comparison.
Yeah,
we just had, I feel like.
it really, really is. I'm going to go with touchdown opportunities. That's it. And touchdown opportunities to me is Jerick McKinnon. So I see Brooks's face. That surprised you, right?
I just pulled up Connor's last game. I forgot that he kind of had a big bounce back that last week.
25 carries,
Yeah.
touchdowns. He was awesome. But that was a revenge game, right? You know, the narrative is there. All right, so, oh, man, 2 quarterback, Lamar, Hurts, or Love. Okay, so this is important. Like, we got to talk a little bit more about Jalen Hurts. In this situation, with Jordan Love and Jalen Hurts and a 2 QB, if you don't have Mariota, if your opponent blocked you and you don't get him, or the waivers ran, or you don't know for sure you can get him on the next waiver day, I will put Jordan Love in over Jalen Hurts out of fear that, I mean, you can't end up without a quarterback in these Monday Night Football. But if I can grab Mariota, I will wait for Jalen Hurts. Lamar is in this situation. I know there's a lot of wind, but when you've got a guy that can rush for 100 yards at quarterback, then you don't worry about the wind quite as much. Achane or Rashee Rice, I'm going to go Achane there. Demarcus Robinson or Brandon Cooks versus the Bills. That's a really interesting question. I expect a shootout here with the Manders-Rams. Stafford's been so good. 10 targets last week for Demarcus Robinson. I really like Demarcus Robinson as kind of a sneaky play. The Bills game against the Cowboys, there's going to be more points there. When you've got, Dak on fire against Josh Allen, man. I want pieces in both games. I think that Demarcus Robinson is the third target. I know he's the third. I mean, you got Cooper Kupp, you got Puka. Brandon Cooks, even though he's dealing with some injuries, he was also, I know last week people were very disappointed because he didn't have a great game. He caught a pass that he went down on the 1-yard line. Like, if he gets that one extra yard, it wasn't like he disappeared. It just didn't work out for fantasy, but he's involved. I want the points. I want the second target. I will take Brandon Cooks for 500, please. All right. We've got, this one. Oh, man, I don't want to answer this one. From Davju. McLaurin or Cooper? Now, I'm going to go ahead and assume this is Amari Cooper because that's a much more difficult question. Wow. McLaurin has sucked. I mean, just out and out. He's been bad. Amari Cooper's been good. Amari Cooper's been good with Flacco. The weather is concerning for Cooper. The wind gusts, the downfield option. Thankfully, Flacco looks like he's got a lot of arm strength. He can throw it through wind. This is the playoffs. You got to get it right. I'm going Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin coming off of a goose, coming off of being a cardio king, coming off of a bye week. I think they're going to get him the ball. The Rams are going to score like crazy. I know it's unreliable. It's scary. But if I had those two players, I would put McLaurin in over Cooper because of the wind. Good luck. Good luck to you, sir. That one is very, very tough. All right, we got time for a couple more. We'll do 2 more questions here. Well, we'll do 3 because I see an easy one. Dusty wants to know Chuba Hubbard or Devon Achane. That's Achane. There will be a lot of running. Chuba will get 20 carries in this game. I don't know that it will be as valuable as 10 from Achane, though. All right, 2 last questions. Oh, here's an important one. Marcus Mariota or Drew Lock? So, first, who's more likely to play? I think Jalen Hurts plays. Okay, so Jalen Hurts, I think Jalen Hurts plays. I think it is more likely that Lock plays than Mariota. So if you are not the Jalen Hurts manager and you just have to start one of these, I'm picking up Drew Lock. The matchup is better against the Eagles anyways. If you are the Hurts manager, then you don't know that Drew Lock's going to play. You have to get Mariota. That guarantees you a start between both of the Philly Eagle quarterbacks. And the final question today, as we enter our week 1 of the fantasy football playoffs, will go to it will go to all right, I'm just going to pick a random name here. I'm scroll up. First one I see, Droopy 827. What is the question? DeMarcus Robinson or Jonathan Mingo? That is DeMarcus Robinson. Jonathan Mingo has no quarterback and bad wind. You can't start Jonathan Mingo under any situation. So I guess that's going to do it, man. That is going to do it. Look, this is a tough week. You all need to get things right. I hope Lady Luck is on your side. I hope every one of you listening right now are not playing anyone else listening so that you can all win. And everyone else that's not listening, just a bunch of turd losers, man. Just what? They're just the worst. That's going to do it for us today. Man, I wish you the best of luck. And I wish myself the best of luck. Let's go play the fantasy football playoffs, baby!